Hi, Janice, this is Terry. Are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Just wanted to make sure that we at least had sound, and I am going to record this and I will post it to the SBDC YouTube site when we're done, so people that weren't able to join with us will be able to see what we're talking about. What business are you with?
My husband and I own Kelly's Brighton Marina on the
Okay.
Halem Bay.
Okay. And things are a little quiet right now?
Well, that's the biggest understatement in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're completely closed. Yeah, there's nothing.
Okay. And where are you at in the process of being able to assess where you can go next? How many employees do you have? And
We have 3 full-time, 1 part-time, and then ourselves, of course. I'm trying to keep them employed. I just have been waiting to see what, kind of help is going to be coming out. And now that they've signed the bill, I'm hoping to apply for the payroll protection program and possibly the emergency economic injury grant. I did make an application to the disaster loan based on my recommendation from my Wells Fargo representative. She just said, last week, she said, there's going to be a ton of people. You better get this in early. So I have an application going with that. But, primarily I've been waiting this week just to see to kind of assess where we're going to go next, because knowing how long this is going to last, I'm
right.
trying to figure out where to cover ourselves at least for 3 months.
Okay. And did you do the application online?
I did the disaster loan application online. I finally found out today, after looking through many things to try to figure out where the payroll protection application, even though it comes under the 7A program, they said I had to contact the SBA locally to, which I believe would be the SBDC would be your outfit to get application moving.
Okay. Okay. So it's 2 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. And I just want to look at, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave you unmuted if a lot of people come in and we're still struggling as far as hearing each other or talking over each other. I'll mute or have you guys mute yourselves. But at this point, I think we're okay. So we have been, as just pretty much as you mentioned, was how do we handle this and what are we looking at? And day-to-day is changing. We have spent a lot of time on the phone just from the standpoint of trying to figure out how we're going to help you guys and keep you in the know. One of the frustrating things is that we're spending a lot of time gathering information, and it's hard to then turn around and disseminate it if in the next 5 minutes there's another meeting changing what we just learned. So bear with us as we're trying to figure out as well. So there's a couple of things that we'll just talk about briefly on resiliency and disaster, and that is assessing where you are. So when you look at your critical business assets, you've already mentioned talking about employees. So where are your employees at in this process? What are they doing currently? What are they able to do? It's amazing we find out how many people cannot work from home. even though their jobs seem to be somewhat portable, so to speak. But there's a lot of things that it's kind of like when you hurt your leg and you realize that you use it a lot differently than you thought you did, when you can't. So assessing where we are in our employees, data, operations, inventory, equipment, our financial position, insurance, and facility are things that we need to look at. And one of the reasons that we're talking about that first is because these are the questions that they're also asking on the applications. And they're wanting to make sure that you're aware of where you are and what you're going to need. And like you said, Janice, if you're going to be going out 3 months, 6 months, where am I right now? Where am I going to be in 6 months? The other thing we're looking at is how to assess the communications. How do we stay in touch with our employees, our customers, our suppliers, the media based on what is happening around us, and then what's happening at the government level. That is where a lot of the impact of the how, why, and when we'll be able to move is being distributed. I know that they're talking about hopefully mid-April being able to move around some. That still will be a full month for most businesses. So if we've lost some momentum in 1 month, what's it going to look like in 2 or 3? And that's where we move into to see where we look at the impact. How long is the disruption? What essential services are needed to be maintained? Our workforce, what has happened? Do we still have the same employees, or if some of them had to change locations or do something else? Tools and resources, and we'll look through that as we go, and then a business continuation plan. Again, that is going to be something that they're looking for on any of the loans through SBA, any of the banks, some of the grants. They're going to look for what is your plan moving forward. And so if you're as able to communicate that as you can, and what your objective and goal is, will help them to be able to assess. You guys have any questions? I see Alan joined as well. You guys can.
Yeah, this all looks, it looks pretty straightforward. I can understand the rationale behind it. Again, without knowing the length, obviously that's going to be the difficult part. As I'm sure you're aware, everything here at the coast is seasonal. You know, we can kind of suck it up for a day, a month, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3, stretching it out. But boy, if we miss the summer season, we're all going to be toast.
Sorry for dogs in the background. I will mute that here in just a second. Alan, did you have anything that you wanted to share? All right, I'm going to mute again, hopefully as the dogs come in here. The thing that you mentioned, Janice, as far as the coast, we have been in our off season, and so you're right, being able to deal with that is not as big an issue for us until we move into May, June, July, exactly what you were saying. Alan, did you have any questions? Oh, okay. I'm seeing you on the chat. Thank you. All right. As we move into, sorry, I'm pressing buttons all over. Where to find resources. There's a couple of things. www.bizcenter.org is a list of resources that are known by the SBDC. That is updated every day or as quickly as we get information. So that is one of the things that you can look at and stay in the loop with. State, local, federal, other, they are disseminating that information to us, well as the Chamber of Commerce. So if you are not sure where to find something, don't hesitate to reach out to anybody locally, and we'll be able to find the information for you. We're going to go into what you need to know about the SBA disaster loans and the overview of how to apply. So if you've already done, sorry, I'm going to have to move through things a little differently than I had them set up. I also wanted to let you know, this one came through to me yesterday, that QuickBooks has a GoFundMe, Small Business Relief Initiative, and you can go to that link that I have up there, and it will take you into how to set up GoFundMe. They are businesses that are participating in that relief initiative and are helping match on GoFundMe. So I don't know if that's something that you're interested in, but that is one that QuickBooks is really working with right now as far as doing their part. So one of the things that another program that I was on was 5 things to do today to help your business survive the coronavirus. And we talk about how to build a forecast and scenarios, how to examine your expenses, assess your staffing plans, forecast your cash to get ready and apply for a loan. Some of the forecasting and the information that they're looking for is balance sheets and is profit and loss statements to a degree. So if you're not currently doing that or sure how to do that, we can help you with how to build that. There's a couple of templates and things in place for how to help you do that quickly and be able to use that. On the small economic injury disaster loan, there's a couple of things that are key phrases that we keep being made aware of, and one is that you're looking for forbearance. That's a term that they're looking for, specifically stating that you're looking for relief, not necessarily having everything wiped away, but relief in not having to meet specific deadlines because of the fact that you have no income coming in because business is closed. The other thing is that when you are applying for these loans, you need to make sure that you're applying for the COVID-19 disaster. There will be a lot of different disasters that will show up on the list. Some of them have to do with like in Nashville when they had a tornado. So there's not just one disaster loan that's up there. So you need to be very sure that you're applying for the right loan. And small businesses are people that have, or businesses that have less than 500 people. It's interesting to a lot of us when you look at a small business, you're thinking that it's maybe 2 or 3 of us in a shop doing something, but in reality it is less than 500 employees. So it actually applies to a lot more people. Nonprofits, and then owners of rental property, and that is another area on the coast where we're looking at people who have Airbnbs or rentals that are not being able to rent those out right now. So on credit history, they're going to look at your credit history, and if you have been in business less than 2 years, they're going to look at your personal, same as looking at most applications, they're going to look at a combination of both. Repayment, they're going to determine what type of ability you have to repay the SBA loan. And that is a loan. There's other programs out there that are not loans, but they're also giving a lot less. So they're kind of a match or something of that nature. So you can apply here at Disaster Loan SBA. And I know, Janice, you've done this, but just for Alan, we'll look at this. You can apply there. And they're saying, again, kind of reiterating over and over, please don't lose your username and password, because they don't have any way to get it back for you without you calling and being on hold forever in a queue waiting to get into somebody that is in IT. And here's something that's really important. There's no cost for you to apply, and there's no obligation to accept the loan. So you may be told that get in there, like Janice mentioned earlier, the queue is quite long. There's a lot of people that are accepting or applying for loans. You don't have to accept the loan if there are other options that come available to you that are more beneficial to you. You don't have to accept the loan. And then looking at who's ineligible, agriculture, which is pretty much our farmers, they have to go through a program through USDA. Religious organizations, cannabis business, and gambling. So we've seen, I don't know if you guys have heard or seen that Las Vegas is pretty much shut down, and so are some of our local casinos. So those are ones that are not going to be able to apply for that loan. So the terms of the loan, the amount is up to $2 million. The interest rate is 3.75. There's different amounts that are being shared via the media, but 3.75 is the rate. 2.75 for a nonprofit, and then up to 3 years. And that will be determined on a case-by-case basis. And they have changed the underwriting guidelines, so they're working with people on a case-by-case basis. So that's not something that you don't have to draw it out to 30 years, but you also don't have to pay back within 6 months. So on criteria, they're looking at acceptable personal credit history, demonstrate the ability to repay, and then what are the use of funds. And that's where we kind of go back and talk about the information that was on the first slide. And are you, have you forecasted that out? What are you looking at? What are you including in your operating expenses, your payroll? So they're going to ask those questions. They're not to be used for business expansion, which most of us are at this point, we just want to stay alive. It's not like we're going to build a second facility. And then on the federal guidelines for a small business, it's 500 employees or less with average annual receipts under 7.5 million. And if you're not sure if you fit in there, you can go to this link right here and look at that. Any questions at this point?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't mute myself in that process. The collateral, required collateral for loans that exceed 25,000. So if you're under 25,000, they are not looking for collateral. And you will not be declined solely on the basis of lack of collateral, but they will look at different options, which may include liens on real estate. So that's something that's maybe a challenge for people. We don't want to put our personal homes or cars or anything on at risk for the business. So that's something that if it's under 25,000 is not required, and if more than that, and you do own a facility and want to make sure that that facility is there, you have that option. So I put on the forms, and I can send this out to you, Alan, if you need this information. The instructions on how to apply, how to fill in the information, they're actually wanting everyone to apply online as much as you can. That will go much faster than if you're applying by mail, and they can process them. And I have heard that people are getting a response within a day or two online. So that's a good thing to know. And then there's potential additional forms that they may ask you to fill out. And so there's a whole list of those. And this request for transcript of tax returns, this 4506T, I know that they are requiring that one as well. So you're going to want to get those downloaded and signed and then scanned back in so that you can send those in with your application. Potential other circumstances that may have the business or may make the business owner ineligible, or if you have a past bankruptcy, you have some things in regard to tax liens, and those would sometimes probably lean more around payroll taxes, or we're coming up on the end of the first quarter for payroll taxes to be due. We're going to have to look with the state to find out. They have extended the personal tax filings to be July. There's been some discussion still on how they're going to handle the payroll deductions, and we'll be working on that as far as the quarterlies, the reports, payments of tax, payroll taxes, because there are some relief terms that are coming down from the stimulus package that was passed and signed. So we're still waiting to find out exactly what that is. So this is the mailing address if you want to mail it. Again, I don't know that if you have no other option, you can always contact us and see if there's not a way that we can help you to do that. I don't know, we're not meeting with people face to face. There is a screen share option with Zoom and some of the other webinar programs so that we could walk you through a screen, but if you don't have access to a computer or internet, that's going to make it difficult. The library used to be a resource for that, and of course that's closed now as well. So contact information for us is located on this last slide, and you can reach out to any one of us. We'll be happy to walk you through the information that you need to look at. I want to look at, are there any questions before I close this one out?
I'm just going to add a comment. So I applied for this last Monday, but it wouldn't upload my 4506 tax form. It took me all week to kind of figure out where to send it and what to do with it, because I thought they wanted tax forms as well. So I called that 800 number, that 659-2955, actually got a live body without a wait.
Oh,
and
wow.
She was able to, I know, I was really surprised, but she told me that I looked for probably at least 45 minutes on that site again, trying to figure out where I could log back into my application and see if I could upload it. I couldn't find anything. And when the lady I talked to on the 800 number this morning, she said it's crashed. She said the whole the whole site. So I don't know, doing something online at this point might even be a moot point unless you're very, very, very patient. So that's kind of my 2 cents right there.
Well, and that's good to know. And they had mentioned that it had crashed. I think it was Wednesday. They thought they had it fixed, but you know, we're finding everybody's working on computer, using internet or meeting via Zoom or whatever outlet they have, and so they're running into problems. That's good to know. My guess would be too that once you get contacted. So Janice, you've not heard back from anybody?
No, because I just did that this morning.
Okay.
When I mistakenly, or now that I think about it, it was a mistake. I when I said I was going to send my, because it wouldn't upload those forms, that I was going to send it. Otherwise, I thought I'd just send it via mail. But then after I closed out my account with the provision that I still had to send these things. And so that's why I'm sure it says specifically they will not review your, your application until all pieces are in. So now I faxed it this morning. They gave me a fax number to send because I had to do my personal taxes and the business taxes. So I sent both of those forms in. So hopefully I'll hear something. Yeah, she said to call back. If I don't hear something, call back in 3 days. So that's the last I heard.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That can be information that we pass on, is that if you're having a problem, I don't know how you did it, but we've encouraged people to use their cell phone if they have an option and take a photo of it, because it's a release form. It's a form that you're signing to release that the IRS can let them access your information, is what the 4506 is giving permission for the IRS to share that information. It takes all of the sharing back and forth and the loading of documents much easier because they have access to it on the cloud. So that's something that we'll work on, but you can take a picture with your cell phone and then attach it. Not the best, but sometimes it works when you can't scan it or do something else. So I'm gonna pull up another form that I have here, and this one is American Bankers Association. There's 4 pages to this one, so I'm more than happy to email it out to you if you want. It goes over the SBA lending program legislation, and they updated this as of yesterday, to my understanding. I got it yesterday afternoon. And so this goes a little bit more into depth on what you can look for. And when we look down here and it says interest rate capped at 4%, that is at 3.75, and it's less if you're a nonprofit. They're looking at a portion of the loan issued as part of the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. When you look up here, is up to or equal to 8 weeks of covered expenses. So I'm not going to go through this document. It again is 4 pages, but this is some information that I'm happy to pass on to you that will give you specifics into what we're looking at. There's that word again on mortgage forbearance. You can contact your mortgage company, or
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're still, I don't see that screen. We're still on the Small Business Administration. You're on the mailing list. That's the only screen I see.
That's the last one. So let me, I think I have to, yeah, new share. There we go. Yep. It did just fine on mine. Sorry. We're still trying to figure out how to do all this too. We're used to meeting with people face to face. So, all right, now can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So this right here is where I was talking about establishes a paycheck protection program. So you're going to want to look at that. And that is something that will be helpful to your employees as well, is knowing that you're helping them to stay on top of things as well. When I was talking here about, I'm not going to go into too much more there on that one, but when you get to this mortgage forbearance, there's a single family forbearance, and then if you have multiple family units, so if you're an apartment owner or something, but you can request to have your mortgages, the requirement or due dates for the mortgage put out up to 3 to 6 months. Still have to make your payments. You're still going to have to deal with that, but it restricts servicers from assessing penalties or fees or extra interest during that time period. So you wouldn't get a loan or a default charge because it wasn't in on time. You wouldn't get additional interest because you went the, 3 to 6 months. So those are things that you're going to want to look at and make sure that you take advantage of. Make sure that you pass that out to your employees as well. That may be something. It helps to just at least take the pressure off during this time period. And then it goes into some more of the ag bankruptcy. There's going to be probably, we'll see some of that take place. And I don't know, how that it's going to be the nature of a disaster is we're going to probably see some businesses close up and things are going to look different on the other side. The Small Business Administration funding was a loan that we talked about a few minutes ago. If you have any employees who have student loans, there's a 6-month deferral period for them as well. And there are some employers who have worked with employees to go back to school. And so there's some potential there for them to have assistance. Credit unions, I am not sure what TLC is doing locally, but there are some credit unions who are expanding their portfolios as well. Health savings account, all of those things will come into play. I know that there is a restaurant, which I don't know, do they consider you a restaurant, Janice?
Not really, no.
Okay. Alan, I'm not sure what service industry you're in, but they have not come out with specific to retail like they have with some of the restaurant, because employees who are still working because the restaurant's considered essential, it's a one-time $500 assistance, which is obviously maybe help them for week 1. So you are retail but considered essential. So, okay. So on essential, where we're doing things that are considered essential, the loan programs and everything still apply. You're allowed as an essential to move around a little bit more freely than some, like Kelly. Kelly's is closed. There's nothing you can do. I mean, I assume, Janice, you could clean once and get it all done, but it's not like you're going to go in every day and clean.
Right, exactly.
And I don't know if you were ever planning to do a remodel or, freshen the paint or something, but that's what kind of what everybody's looking at is some of those projects that we have put off for a while. But other than that, there's not a whole lot that can take place. So, Alan, do you have any questions? I know he's going to need to type in. And then Janice, do you have any more that maybe I haven't covered that I can look up for you and make sure that I have information?
Well, mainly what I was looking to pursue next is the payroll protection program and how to go about what forms I need to fill out and where those need to go. That's kind of my primary objective right now.
Okay. And so I'm assuming that you're on Facebook because that's how you found out about this presentation. So what I will do is I will go ahead and get that information and I will post it on our Facebook page. And I will also put my email address. Did you grab my email address from the other slide?
I have Tillamook, SBDC at bizcenter.org.
Okay, and underneath
Is that
that,
correct?
yeah, underneath that. So which one are you seeing now? If I close out,
It's still on it.
yeah, I gotta close this one and share, go back. It'll have my email address specifically, so then you and I can talk. So let me share that one. So right there, it has my advisor, Terry Flatstall advisor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't
Alan,
see
you
that.
can use that one as well if you want to just contact me, and I can set up a meeting. I will pull up this information. I will put it on there, and then I can set up a Zoom and do a Zoom meeting with you one-on-one and go into more depth on the things that you want to know in particular. I know we know that everything's not going to fit everybody across the board. It's not just a one and done. So we're going to have to make adjustments and find what will work for you versus everyone. So why don't you let me know on that? I will go look at the payroll protection program, and I did see another form come down from the state of Oregon last night, and so I will pull that one up as well and see if they haven't given us definitive dates on, because I know quarterlies, like I said, are coming up at the end of March. Reports are due by the 15th of April, and so that's going to affect a lot of what small businesses with employees are having to look at. If we're not allowed in or able to access our information, how are we going to meet those requirements?
Right. And do you know any more, Terry, about the Emergency Economic Injury Grant? I saw that. I was looking at Kurt Schrader's, Representative Schrader's website, and he had a pretty comprehensive list of what the CARES Act has entailed. And so that says that money is available immediately, like up to $10,000 within 3 days. Right. So I was just kind of curious on what the criterion was to access that if possible, or if necessary, I guess.
Well, and so because all of that was signed and everything was put into place pretty much end of business day, Friday, we don't have the forms yet. I am looking for them. I'm on several different sites so that it will pull up as soon as they come in, and we will post that on our Facebook page and on our website. And so, and after I am done with recording with you, I will go look for them, and if anything has changed. Janice, what is your email?
Kelly's Brighton Marina @gmail.com.
Okay. And then if you'll send me an email as well, and a reminder that you want that information. Alan, if you are interested in it, send me an email. That way I have yours as well, and then we can put that information out. I know, again, everything is coming in. It sounds like it's fast on the TV, but we're not necessarily getting the information disseminated all the way down to us as quickly. So, and that's just, I think that's normal, but we'll try to make it speed things up as quickly as we can. All right, so is there any other questions or anything that you guys want to address specifically?
What's your Facebook? What's the Facebook name? Is it just Tillamook SBDC?
It should be Tillamook Bay Small Business Development Center. How did you find out about today's call?
Somebody from Tillamook Coast sent me a link and said that this was going to be happening.
Okay.
So,
we're going to do one on Monday too for restaurants, and so hopefully I'll have a lot more information by then to share, and again we'll put that on our Facebook page, and you should be able to watch the video and hear the discussion.
Okay, perfect.
All right, Alan, any questions? I don't know if I closed the chat and he's talking to me and I can't see him, so let me. Move things around on my screen. Chat, there we go. Okay, Alan, all right. I have Alan's information, and so I will get information out to both of you today. And he's helping customers. Great. That's a wonderful thing to have happen. So I will go ahead and send information out to the two of you. If you have any other questions, you'll have my email, and we'll do everything we can to get you guys up and running.
All right. Thanks so much, Terry. Very,
right.
very informative.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.